Nextplay Africa Summit. Greetings. My name is Peter Allen. I'm not a son of that soil, but you can call me a son of the soil. I am from Jamaica originally. I'm here in the United States, working as an agent for a number of years. Drop this video online and just be able to speak about some things. It's totally important to be educated, especially in a time and a season like this where things are shifting, things are changing. What used to be traditional and would be able to bring you to a certain level won't necessarily bring you there anymore. The nature of work is changing, the context of work is changing, even football is about to change. So it's important for you to be educated not only from the standpoint where school is important, because that is important, you need the basics. Some of you may not go on to get your master's degrees or first degrees, but it's very important for you to understand what the context is and to get the basic information you need. So it's good for you to do your best in school. I always tell my son that, look, listen, you may not get A's, but I want you to, but more than anything else, I want you to do your best. It's very important for you because the world is changing, football is changing, things are changing, and the more you know in terms of information, or as soon as you're able to get the information, you move quickly on it, you're able to put yourself at a better advantage. So it's important not just to play, but know if you're playing football, know all the positions on the field, know what each position does and what your role is in it. So even if you have to move into that particular position, you could play it. But even just the context of football and the world and knowing life, it's important to be able to even learn other subjects so that you can actually relate to other people. Speaking of other subjects, learning history, learning another language, learning literature, because even literature opens up your minds. Reading the Word of God, the Bible itself, it opens you up to be able to see and think and to envision the things that you're reading. But so it's very important for you to be educated because it's going to bring you to the next level. And also it also opens up doors for you that you won't necessarily have open before you, just because of your skill or just because of your work ethic. Sometimes it takes a matter of information that you do know. So it's very much important for you to be educated, especially as an African footballer, because if you take, well, I don't want to spend too long here, but think about it. Some of the greatest footballers that we've seen from Africa in the last few years, George Weah was the president of Liberia, right? Then you see Samuel Eto'o doing some crazy things over in Cameroon. You see different guys doing different things way back when you had Dr. Socrates, part of the Brazilian team in 1982, medical doctors, and they're affecting the world as is. The person who I believe is like Michael Jordan is the greatest player. It's the Nacimiento de Arantes that we call him Pele. Pele was involved in politics too, so it's very important for you to be educated, to get your education up. All right, Africa, we say, yeah. Football should plan financially because you never know when the career is going to end. You never know if you'll be able to come back. You never know in regards to what your future holds. And the lifespan of a footballer average maybe 3 to 5 years. Some may play 10, 12, 15 years. Some people may be goalkeepers going to like 20 years. But that's not the norm. And so what you want to do is, as soon as the money comes in, you be able to segment your money. I would say do it in thirds, or quarters in a sense, where, you have 4 quarters. So where the first quarter really goes towards your needs in terms of your basics, your shelter, your food, even in terms of your training. You need boots, you buy boots, whatever the case is, buy gloves. If you don't have a sponsorship, you do those things. You want to send the second quarter, you want to send that money to investments, in terms of long-term investment, in terms of your retirement. The third quarter you want to send to, put aside to maybe start a business or invest to get yourself back into school. Because a lot of footballers, what they do is they go play football and they go to school part-time. They don't tell you. So that's why you have a lot of them coming out and doing some different things. And the last quarter of it, you want to be able to have that money just to be able to, if you need to help somebody, help your help your family, or help if you have that money there, or even there's some money, some extra money that you want to just for immediate needs. So you really want to put yourself in that position where you don't have to worry about that. And also, you just never know what's going to happen in football afterwards. So you have to start preparing these things from early. One of the things that we've seen is that football, as I mentioned, they've done different things in terms of investing the money in different things in the stock market, in housing, real estate, in oil, and different things they've invested the money in, and they've gone on to school as well. Even as recent, you have George Weah, who was known as the player of the year from Liberia, went back and became the prince of Liberia. But they've been planning for this for a long time. So I want to encourage you, start planning for your money. Don't let your money come and say, okay, I'm going to live life. Plan financially. Do well financially first, all right? Very important, because you just when you get to the end of the road, you're wondering what is next. And also, while you're there in football, there's some things that you could do. You can become a coach now. You could get licensing to become a coach. As much as there are many coaches, there are coaches that are leaving the profession, retiring out of the profession. So you need new coaches, and new teams are being birthed, and new academies are being birthed. So that's something you could do as well, to start an academy. If you're a player right now, I know a young girl, she's a goalkeeper and she's in college. It's her last year, but she has been doing media, and we tested the market, didn't get too many people for her. But one thing we saw, she started taking a lot of pictures at her home in her country. And she took it to a tournament because the people in her country saw it. Someone saw it and said, oh, we wanted to come here to take pictures. To the pictures there, one thing led to another. This girl will be taking pictures in the World Cup. She's already taking pictures in the MLS. And she is not directly from America. So just want to say that you just never know when your connection is going to come, how it's going to come, but you want to prepare yourself. Another friend of mine, he's over in Malawi, and he played in South Africa, Malawi, played in Greece, played in Cyprus, went back to Malawi. While he was back and forth, the agent he was working with had a analysis course. He did the course, and now he's an analyst for Malawi and for a couple of teams in the Malawi Premier League. What am I saying? There are so many avenues you could go into. You could go into management and investment and own your own business. But you definitely want to make sure, if there are things that you like, try to hone in on those things even from early. Because the earlier the better, so that when it's time for you to transition, it's easy. So it's very, very important that you do these things. Man, let me say this. It is never, let me repeat, it is never a good thing for a footballer to be doping drugs. I know sometimes it might feel it's going to give you the edge, give you the advantage. Doing things to your body itself it's a divine machine. You wanna enhance that. How you enhance that? The way you live, the way you meditate, you connect to God, you pray, you treat your body right. You want to do those things. You don't want to put in, because you might get an artificial increase right now, but it's going to be a rapid decrease later on. And not only going to decrease in your physicality, but even in your psychologically, your spiritually, you're going to decrease as a person. So it's never a good thing to be able to do that. And even with dope and drugs too, you never want to put yourself in a position where you and your body is dependent on something to strive to survive. Bro, don't do that to yourself. And for those, if you're a young man listening, or young woman, it's going to affect you in the long run, especially when you want to have a family. It's never a good thing. So I would highly suggest, if you're doing it right now, listen, let me even go far as just say, don't smoke weed. Don't smoke. Leave it alone. Don't smoke. I mean, not everybody is Michael Jordan smoking cigars and staying up all night drinking and going and killing everybody in the game. No, don't do that. That's not healthy. That wears on your body after a time. You begin to look older. Your body deteriorates older. You want to live to the 80s, 90s, and you look still strong, So it's not best for you to do that. So stay away, man. Stay away. Do yourself a favor. Do your future self a favor. You want to preserve your future self to look good and to be able to feel good and be good. Stay off the drugs. Stay off the weed, as they would say. In terms of what do other continents have for African players, man, Africa has talent. Africa has talent. Like the players in Africa, tremendous, talented. I think, no, I think, but there are countries that are in other continents, like in Europe, the infrastructure is there for football. So countries dedicate money towards townships having football, and um, they have different levels of professional football. In Africa, you don't have that. But one thing with Africans work hard. The kind of training that you have in the US and in Europe is not like in Africa. But Africans work hard. And you do with what you have to make it better. I would say because of the education and what football leads to and how sports develop. In Europe, sports is a valid or vital or viable rather industry. They see it just as much as they see technology for many people. Not so much in the United States, definitely not in Africa as much. So there is a lot more that surrounds football in other countries outside. What you can do though is while you, and this is, it's important. This is why you have to think of yourself as a pioneer. Even though Africa's produced some of the greatest footballers the world's ever seen, and even just the background of some of the world's greatest footballers are coming from Africa, African descent. You still want to be able to think of yourself as a pioneer. How are you a pioneer? If you can train some kids in your neighborhood right now, do it. You're being a pioneer. You're opening doors for players that you've never had, that some never did have. If you can coach, if you can do some video analysis, if you can, whatever you can do, start doing it from now, because future-wise, you just never know what might happen. And how you're building the infrastructure. You may not have everything right now, but you're building the infrastructure for what can be done. Even people abroad, family have abroad who can help and support you. Tap into those different networks and help you, but don't let your limitations limit how great you can be. Samuel Eto'o, oh my Jesus, love Eto'o. See what he's doing in Cameroon right now? Koulibaly, the Toure brothers, Yaya Toure, Kole Toure. You have so many Africans, so many African footballers, and how many have come back and done academies as well. So you have to think of yourself as a pioneer. You don't have to do everything what everybody's done. You could do some things, learn from them and learn what they're doing, and add to what you're doing and make it better. But don't let the disadvantage that you may see or perceive from other continents or the players stop you from being great, because you could go on to do some tremendous things as well. Everybody's going to have to play a part. Nobody can take on the entire thing. Everybody's going to have to play a part. We're going to have people who have integrity, who do not want to just use players, but to see them as the development of a nation, development of young men, look at them from that perspective. We're going to have those people, need those people, be in football. People played overseas to take the knowledge they've learned and bring back to the country, whether it be in politics, whether it be in business. And I'll tell you this much. Sometimes the teams that win leagues are not necessarily the best coached teams. They may not be the best, the most talented teams. They play as a team, but their business, the way how they do business, also tells you that, okay, then they're playing from a championship level, and that causes them to win a lot of the time. So you can't really look at the fact like, teams win is just better players or better coaches. No, it's business. It's integrity in business. So what I would suggest that some African footballers do is, when you go back home, whatever you do, you still pour into teams. You sponsor teams as much as you can. Lastly, what do I recommend? I recommend African football. I'm for players. I am for players building their neighborhoods, building in their communities. Start a community team. because it's going to actually help young men develop and grow. They say that when people play sports, young people play sports, their minds develop at such a rapid pace, and not on a rapid pace, but it puts them in a position where they are now being able to like make critical decisions quicker and faster, and then lead these companies, lead these teams, lead these decisions. So it helps you to develop as a person, as a man, as a young man, if you're able to take these things on seriously and take them on from a perspective of, let me do this correctly and wisely. So I do believe, don't stop playing football, don't stop being involved in football. Still, as time changes, as you grow older, things might change, your interest may change. Never stop having an interest in football, because as much as you have an interest in football, it's going to be interest in people. People are going to be developed and grow, and you may 100 years from now, they may not remember your name, but somebody may point to, oh, you remember that person who did such and such and such? They helped me to grow. They didn't even know. But because they did that, allowed me to come into a space where I am now. So, by all means, don't stop being involved in football. Do good work. Do work work with integrity. Don't lie. Don't cheat. Don't go around a corner. Don't steal. Don't hide from people. Don't, do right by people. Do right by people. Do right by football, and see how the Lord blesses everything that you do. Glad to talk to you. If I can share anything else, hit my brother up, and we'll talk soon.